Ever get that feeling when you're scrolling online and you see some huge story blowing up and you just know wading through all the takes and hot takes is going to be a total headache?
Yeah, it's like information overload, right? Like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Exactly. Well, today we're tackling one of those stories. It's the whole Kanye West situation, specifically those social media posts aimed at Jay Z, Beyonce, and even their kids.
Definitely a controversial one.
Big time. And to try and make sense of it all, we've been going through these transcripts from the Ticket TV YouTube channel. They've been covering it pretty closely.
Yeah, they always have good pulse on what's happening.
Totally. And our mission today, to give you the breakdown of what actually went down, cut through the noise, and figure out why everyone's freaking out, and maybe even see what the long-term impact could be, all without losing our minds in the process.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, so let's get into it. The whole thing really kicked off on X, what used to be Twitter. And we're not just talking vague rants here. These posts were very direct and, honestly, just awful attacks.
Yeah, and what was really disturbing is that they went after Jay Z and Beyonce's kids specifically. Like, the things he was saying, totally unfounded accusations, super offensive language. We're talking slurs being thrown around, even bringing up artificial insemination.
It was a lot.
It was rough.
And the online reaction, as you can imagine, was instant and overwhelmingly negative. Ticket TV was talking about the outrage and condemnation from fans, and you can totally understand why going after kids like that is way over the line.
Yeah, no question.
Oh.
But here's where things get even more interesting. Kanye actually took the post down. So at first you might think, okay, maybe he's having second thoughts, realizing he went too far.
Right, a moment of clarity.
But what Ticket TV said was that Kanye's reasoning was something else entirely.
Oh.
He actually said he deleted them not because he felt bad about what he'd said. He literally said, not because I'm a good person. Can you believe that?
Wow.
He said he was worried about getting his account banned.
So it was more about self-preservation than remorse.
But of course, this is Kanye, so it doesn't end there, does it?
Oh, no, not even close. Apparently, he got mad at himself for even taking the post down and then just completely doubled down, like full-on rage mode.
So he's upset that he backed down, basically.
Pretty much. There were reports of him posting in all caps, you know how that is, throwing more fuel on the fire, more offensive language aimed at Jay Z and his family. Even mentioning shooters, which, is usually understood to mean their security or inner circle. Not a good look.
Yikes. Definitely escalating the situation.
Totally. And to make matters worse, he brought up that whole thing about Jay Z and Beyonce supposedly raising their, he used that horrible slur again. Can't even repeat it.
Yeah, it's just awful.
Absolutely. But here's the thing that really struck me. He then said he was so mad I took that down, and that his only regret was deleting those original tweets. I mean, that says a lot about where his head was at in that moment,
It really does give you a glimpse into his mindset. Trying to understand what might be driving this kind of behavior. Ticket TV actually brought up a conversation Kanye had recently with Diddy. Remember that?
Oh, right. When Diddy was talking about feeling abandoned by the industry.
Exactly. And Kanye was the only one who he said had reached out to him.
Oh, that's right.
And Kanye was really supportive of Diddy. He was saying stuff like, yes, sir, you raised me. Which is interesting considering any past beef they might have had.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be some tension there.
Right. But it seems like Kanye's feeling some kind of kinship with Diddy. Maybe feeling like they're both outsiders now.
Ticket TV actually suggested that this conversation with Diddy could be a factor in what Kanye did next, maybe feeling like he's standing up for the underdog, even if it's in a totally messed up way.
Could be, and it's not like this is the first time Kanye has said something controversial,
Oh yeah, not even close. We're talking about the slavery comments, the whole Magier hat thing, supporting Trump. He's got a history of making statements that just blow up the internet.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he even kind of acknowledged this himself. He's been saying that when he got backlash for his political views or when he was going through all that stuff with Kim and the kids, nobody from the celebrity world had his back.
Oh, that's right. He was complaining about feeling isolated.
Yeah, which could be playing a role in all this. Like he's got this me against the world mentality, but that still doesn't excuse going after kids. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not. Okay, so let's get into what Ticket TV had to say about all of this because they had some really strong opinions.
Oh, yeah, they didn't hold back.
Not at all. They condemned Kanye's statement straight up, especially the stuff about the kids. They were basically saying that no matter what issues you have with someone, you don't attack their children like that.
Totally agree. And they went even further. They called this whole thing the absolute end game for Kanye.
Wow, the end game, huh?
Yeah, they were like, ain't no comeback from this. Which is a pretty strong statement, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And they predicted that Jay Z probably won't even respond publicly. Yeah, their theory is that Kanye knows too much from their history together, all those years in the industry. So they think Jay Z and Beyonce would rather just avoid a messy public back and forth because who knows what could come out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes silence speaks volumes, especially when you've got that kind of shared past.
Right. And Ticket TV also thinks that after this, the industry is basically going to shut Kanye out completely. They were like, anytime, anywhere Kanye tried to move in the industry now, I think it's over with for him.
Wow. So they're seeing this as a career ender.
Pretty much. And they were also worried about Kanye's well-being. They used phrases like Kanye West is on a crash out mission, which makes you think they're seeing him as self-destructing.
Yeah, that's a scary thought, like he's spiraling.
Right. And the idea that Kanye crossed a line he can't come back from, especially by dragging kids into it,
Yeah.
that was a big part of their analysis. They were definitely saying this is different from his other controversies. This is a whole new level of bad.
Definitely a turning point. And just to give you an idea of how bad the language was, even the Ticket TV hosts couldn't bring themselves to repeat the actual slurs Kanye used. They were like, nope, not going there.
Yeah, that really tells you something.
It does. And they also noticed a pattern with Kanye, how he seems to get even more extreme when people call him out or when things don't go his way. Almost like he's looking for a fight.
And that's a dangerous cycle to get into, for sure.
Absolutely. They even said they doubt his album will even come out now after all this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it's just too much baggage, too much controversy.
Right. And just to be super clear, the Ticket TV hosts were very clear that they weren't okay with any of the stuff Kanye said about the kids. They made it very clear that they weren't endorsing that at all.
Of course.
Of course. But it's important to note that. So big picture, what we've got here is Kanye going on this really offensive rant online aimed at Jay Z and Beyonce, but what made it so much worse was him bringing their kids into it. And then we had the whole thing where he deleted the post that he wasn't actually sorry and then just went even harder with the attacks.
Yeah, a total mess. And like we heard from Ticket TV, this could have huge consequences for Kanye, both in terms of his relationships in the industry and his career overall.
Right. And it makes you think about the whole dynamic of online feuds, you know, how quickly things can escalate, how much damage words can do, especially when you've got a huge platform and millions of people watching. It's a lot of responsibility. And in this case, it seems like that responsibility wasn't taken very seriously.
Very true. And it makes you wonder, given how public this whole thing is and Kanye's history of saying and doing controversial stuff, what does this say about how we handle public disagreements now? Especially in the age of social media where everything is amplified and permanent.
It's a good question.
Right. And how do these personal fights played out in front of the whole world not only affect the people involved, but also change the way we all think and interact online? It's something to really think about beyond just the gossip and the drama.
Absolutely food for thought.